Hello, everybody. How's it going? We're at the MGM. We're at the MGM Grand, everyone. It's cause for celebration. Um, According to my YouTube app or my YouTube channel, I hit 4,000 watch hours today, and I haven't got an email from Google yet, but it does look like I have hit the 4,000. This channel, if it can be monetized, it will be monetized probably pretty soon. That has been a goal of mine for like 13 years. So that's kind of cool. And in celebration, we're here at the MGM. I am going to bet on some college basketball games. I don't think I'm going to bet on NBA, but this video is going to be about the NBA algorithm. I've had multiple requests over the last few days, especially about getting copies of this file and getting it to work. So what I'm going to go through in this video is not the core stages to updating the NBA algorithm. I've done many videos about that. If you search how to update the NBA algorithm, you're only going to find videos that are tutorials about how to do that. But there's an additional part now, and I have to do a separate video on this. So this is going to be the NBA algorithm macro version. Okay. So let's talk about what you need to do here because there's a lot you can do with it. And I'm not doing the algorithms after January 31st. I'm doing other stuff. And this, if I do this, it's going to be private situation and not for all the people that have been contacting me. Like I can get you copies of stuff, but not further into the future. Like as February rolls, like I'm not going to be responding to sports algorithm emails except from people who've been with me for a long time. So understand that you need to take it upon yourself to learn how these work. And I provided enough video tutorials to hopefully do that. So let's talk about NBA. So I'm looking at yesterday, and basically the problem we have with NBA is we're 5-6, or sorry, this is Saturday. I didn't even do yesterday's games because I didn't get it done. But Saturday's games were 5-6. Like we just cannot seem to get this to have days like the college basketball algorithm does. But that doesn't mean we can't do that. It means that we need to get a good distribution of variables. And so what I did is I have 100 sample distribution of variables, which are not good. We need to work on this distribution variables. It takes a lot of time. We need to test out different variables. You can by just simply, typing them in. If you want to change, this number 15 is all zeros. Whatever you want 15 to be, you can start putting in percentages for things. You want to put a negative number under number of losses. That is a negative number that's supposed to go in this cell, zero or negative number. Anyway, so you can just start typing in numbers and you'll get a distribution and your total shows up over here on the right here in this column. It can be 100, but it doesn't have to be 100 actually. It really doesn't have to be 100. It can be any mixture of numbers. Now, what I wanted to do was I wanted to set up a macro so that you can test all these distributions. I've done a couple of videos about this, but I want to really go over it for those who just watched this video. So I have a macro that tests all of these variables against all of our history in the cube, where we have all of our records and historical projections and projections for the current day. So what you need to do first, okay, after second or third, after you've brought in the odds for the day, you paste them right below the next day's. So these are today's odds for Monday. You paste them right below the next, the first available cell in column K. Once you do that, the cube is smart right now, and it's actually connected to the odds compiler sheet. You can extend it down by grabbing you have to grab two rows where it's home and away. This is why you have to grab two rows when you pull this thing down. The home and away requires you to have the records are in duplicates. They're in 2-row segments. So if you highlight 2 rows, you can see this row is actually bad. This last row is wrong because it doesn't have a full game in it. It only had one away at the bottom. So you need to grab like 2 like this, okay? If you grab 2 like this and start pulling them down a ways, you're going to get a lot of extra records that are already connected to, as you can see, I ended on an odd number here. So really you want to get rid of the bottom one, but it doesn't really matter until you get there. You can see I just created a lot of records and it's connected to the odds compiler sheet. And so it's just going to fill itself automatically once you paste the odds from RotoWire right here. So once you do that, you have to do something else in the cube. So what there is in Excel is there are things called named ranges. Named ranges are a cell or a rectangle of cells or an area of cells that you have called something. I have called all of our current historical and current projections. I've called them cube history. You can find that by clicking this little arrow up here on the top. You can click cube history right here and you'll see what gets highlighted. You see how all this is highlighted? If you scroll down, you'll see that it stops right before today's games. Okay, we'll get there in a second. Stops right here, right before the day's games. And we need to have the entire set of today's games. Boy, I hope this isn't screwed up. My face looks like it's okay. Now it's fixed. So it was going haywire. So we need to change this range to be further down than just row 1301. We have to bring this all the way down to row 1323. The way to do that is to go to Formulas, Name Manager. You find the Cube History Name Manager, which is right here. You click it, and then down at the bottom, we're going to type 1323 is where this ends. So I typed the last row of data that we want to include, and then you press the question, the check mark. That applies it, and then you press close. Now you can check if you highlight the cube history range, you'll see that cube history, I'm not going to go all the way down, but it is going all the way down to where we need it to go, which is all the way down to row 1339. 1339? Did I type that in right? Let's check again. Actually, let's actually check it, because this is how you know. So scroll down. No, I screwed up. Look, I screwed up. It's supposed to get down to 1339. See, I screw up everything. Let's fix that. 1339. Okay. Check mark, close. Now I think it's going to work. We're going to check. There's a lot of checking things to make sure that they're accurate. So let's bring that down. And it's perfect. Okay. So it's working. Sometimes you have to bring the data in here. I have all the data today, the 30th, properly applied in column A here. Now once we've done this, we've got the cube history done. Now the cool part happens. So there's this macro. All right. If you go to the you go to the testing cube sheet, it needs to be blank. So if you've already run the macro before, all this data is going to be filled in and you need to clear it out. That's everything from column E to column AD starting in row 2, not the titles, but all the data. And you're going to see that data populate. And here's how you populate it. You go to view, you go to macros, you go to view macro. There's something called full 500, which is really full 100. It's 100 combinations, and you press run and watch. And if you're epileptic, do not look at the screen because you will have a seizure. So what it's doing is it's automatically grabbing every single combination string, and it is dumping it into a brand new cube of data that we're going to use, and we're going to we made a pivot table out of that data to compare and to look to see what the best distribution of the day was, what the best distribution for the season was, and any subset or period of dates that you want to look at, you're going to be able to look at through the slicer once this is done. So 100 of these combinations takes about a minute, I think it takes to do. You could add more combinations and I could adjust the macro and it could run many, many more. It would just take longer to run. 100's okay. We need to work with the distributions and make sure that there are a wide variety of distributions, because right now I just feel like I didn't do a good variety, and that's why we're not finding any real distribution that has an excellent day. However, I don't know what it looks like for Saturday yet, because this is the first time we're running it. So we're going to see if we can do better than that 5 and 6, which is what we had with combination string number 14, I believe. I bet you there's another combination that's going to do better than 5 and 6. And we're going to look at that combination so that you can learn, because you have to learn why the combinations are working so that you can craft your own distribution and then keep testing it with this macro. Right? Let's see, I think we're almost done. 80 something, I think that said. 87, yeah, we're getting close. It's really cool that this does this all by itself. I mean, I can't believe I didn't do this previously. I had to learn how to write the macro after testing it out, but it was fine. And now I really feel good about it. So it's almost Almost done. Now it's done. So what happened was, if you look at the testing queue, okay, all of a sudden you have a ton of data here. Goes all the way down to row 132,000 and something. Okay. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Excel's wanting to break. Yeah, it's big. It's a very big file now. It's like a 16, 17 megabyte file now. Now, one thing has to be adjusted every new day that you run the macro. And that is, there's these formulas in black in columns A, B, C, and D. They need to be pulled all the way down in the data set. So I'm highlighting all four of them and double clicking. That will apply everything to the full data set. So now we got a full data set to look at. You go to the compare pivot sheet and you press refresh. It takes a few seconds because it's so big, but it just finished it. Now we're going to click on date of 1/28. And what's going to come to the top is you can see that on the 27th, the best we did was 3 and 2. Let's see how the best we can do on the 28th by clicking it. There was a 10 and 1 and it was all blocks. Again, are you kidding me? And there was a bunch of 9 and 2s also. Okay, now we're learning something. So what happened? Well, first of all, blocks were apparently really, really important. You cannot use just all blocks every time you run a distribution. That's this distribution. You'll see what number it is by opening it up. You keep opening things up and it'll start to show you. It was distribution number 9 is what it was. Now, so we can look in our combination testing string and find number 9. You can see that that's all blocks right here, 100% blocks. But I'm more interested in the other ones. 66, 95, 80. Look at all these 9 and 2s. I'm losing battery. Darn it. I'm losing battery, guys. I gotta plug the phone in. I gotta plug the computer in. Point is, something about 66 was good. Let's just glance at 66 before I end this video because we're about done. But we need to look at today. All right, 66 had a lot of number of wins, a lot of rebounds, a lot of 3-pointers made, 10% field goal. So something about rebounds was probably good, and 3-pointers made was probably good because that's where that 25 is right here. So you got to dig through the combinations to find out if they're working. And I'm gonna have to plug this computer in. Let's quickly look at today before we lose battery. There's outlets everywhere here actually. Today, with number 66, what happens? Are we missing something? No, there are the games. So with number 66, which went 9 and 2 on Saturday, this is your order. It looks tough, but that's the basic overall how you do this. And every time you change this number, like if you want to change it to blocks again, this is what it looks like. All blocks is number 9. Looks like this. So you have free reign to do anything you want, test anything you want, run that macro. You remember, you got to clear the macro if you want to run it again. It's not going to work right if you don't clear it. That means go here, and delete or clear contents. That gets rid of it, and then you can run the macro again and undo that. So that is the NBA algorithm macro version. That's a really quick tutorial on how to update it. I am selling a copy for the next 48 hours if you'd like one, and you can start having fun with it yourself. So good luck, everybody. I'm proud to potentially be a YouTube pseudo celebrity at some point, and we're going to enjoy ourselves at the MGM. I'm here for a few days, and I'll certainly be betting some college basketball games. That's about all I'm willing to bet at this point because it's that reliable. But NBA hopefully can get better, and as people work with it, I'm sure you guys will find stuff and find good distributions. Good luck, everybody. Mail your picks. The winning.